He's an eccentric billionaire with nothing but a bunch of extra time to spare. He's got his favorite subject and he's happy to share everything he knows about Greece. He'll go to every single ritzy secret event and mingle with his buddies in the 1%, but they find his passion and embarrassment and repeatedly ask him to cease. But never one to back down, ever a pro. He claims there's nothing else that's even worth it to know. So he grabbed his butler Eric and he started a show to see if anything will catch his eye. Now every fresh contestant must babble and boast on the subject of their choosing that they treasure the most. Put your hands together and welcome your host. It's Adal, Maximilian, Josephus, Vin Diesel, Rifai.
It's Tell Me About It. Brahem. She brews a proper cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. Me. Welcome to Tell Me About It, a game show about proving the things you love are actually interesting and fun. I am local songstress, Adal Rifai, also a local eccentric multibillionaire. I guess being a songstress fits into the eccentric. The umbrella of eccentric includes songstress, and I am still looking for someone to show me something that is better and more interesting than the movie Grease. Though I'm not doing this by myself, please welcome my butler who has sung all the way through with no speaking lines, Eric Silver.
Much like a musical that's sung all the way through, people don't get me. They just don't get it. And they're like, where are the they're speaking in musicals. And that's like how people feel about me.
I don't understand. Now, Eric, as you know, I'm finishing my hat.
And it's a very nice hat at that.
Thank you so much. I built a park on my property to finish the hat, and I keep getting distracted. I don't know what's going on. I just have these songs running through my head. I mean, 95% of the songs that run through my head are from Grease and Grease 2, and soon to be Grease 3, if my bank account has anything to say about it.
It's really unfortunate, but this episode is going to involve you supporting the arts, which is the only possible good thing a billionaire could do. Everyone would just love that if you gave your billions into creating Grease 3 and funding the arts. But I don't want you to do that because I know that would ruin your whole rep.
And of course, the script I wrote is Sam Rockwell starring as Danny Zuko's nephew. His name is
really
Manny Zuko.
Really young cousin, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not feeling super confident, but I'm excited to see Sam Rockwell dance across the screen.
Daniel Zukowski. Our parents are from different parts of the country.
Yes, of course.
He'd be good at it.
Ben Platt is Kanicki's, I want to say, little nephew. I guess everyone's just nephews. Nephews all the way down.
Oh, so if Ben Platt's in it, his dad is producing the musical, so that's how we know.
Oh, did I not say that? We're very good friends.
Oh, of course. That's how this whole thing is getting put together.
We have a production company. It's called Nepotism Films.
Nepo baby films. A24 means for I'm a 24-year-old Nepo baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our intro song it's like the Muppet Baby song, but replace Muppet with Nepo.
Yeah. Gonzo's dad? You wouldn't believe this?
Alan Arkin.
Yeah, Alan Arkin. Incredible.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that Gonzo's a Nepo baby.
Yeah, he just dropped the Arkin so that he could be judged on his own merits, quote unquote.
Exactly. Eric, about 5 minutes ago, you gave me 5, and I said, thank you, 5. I don't know what that was about, but something inside me felt like I needed to respond in that manner. Who do we have waiting in the wings today before we open up the curtains and play the overture?
Absolutely. Well, everyone's warming up. It's that fun part where everyone kind of like plays their instrument for the first time. Like everyone's kind of like waking up. Like you haven't used your voice at all in the last 6 hours.
And can I just say, I'm so thrilled today. When I opened up my Tell Me About It playbill, not a single little rectangular white sheet fell out, which means, I think, fingers crossed, no understudies?
Eric Silver was going to be played by James Marsden, but it is going to be played by Eric Silver. I'm sorry. We have the full star here, though, as our guest. Introducing fiction podcast writer and creator of The Bright Sessions, it's Lauren Shippen.
Hello. Playing myself. Thank you.
Wow. And Lauren, thank you. We brought in an audience here. Of course, they are...
I see.
Not in the round, because that would be distracting, but there is a proscenium, so feel free to cheat out when you talk.
Three-quarter turn.
Lauren, thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited to talk to you, very excited to interview you, very excited to see you put on a little show.
Yeah.
A little show sounds... That's like when my parents say, you do that little podcast. And I go, no, Mom and Dad, I'm a multibillionaire.
Who makes a big podcast.
Yes, I've helped you immensely in all walks of life. So please stop calling it little. So I apologize for being reductive.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
I know how we're going to save the town. Let's put on a podcast.
Exactly. Speaking of saving the town, the other day I went to go watch the Lakers play. Of course, at the Forum Arenum. They call it the Staples Center, but I still call it the Forum. And a funny thing happened when I was on my way over there.
Really?
Yes. I ran into LeBron James, and of course, we're very close. We play pickup basketball, and I dunk all over him. And he was saying that he hopes and dreams that L.A. can be known as the Broadway of the West. Now, Lauren, as I understand it from the Playbill, you are here today to talk about musicals, about Broadway in some capacity. What are you here to talk to us about?
I am here to talk about the greatest musical theater composer of all time, Steven Sondheim.
Woo! Yay! I love that
sounds
guy.
like Steven is here in the crowd, perhaps.
That was the audience.
Yes.
The audience of musical theater nerds you let in. They're all just standing outside of the studio.
The lights are so bright that it's very hard to see them, but they are there.
They're there,
yes,
for sure.
And when a crowd of 300 to 500 people all kind of woo together, their voices combine to sound like a older gentleman.
That
showbiz.
is true.
Yeah.
That's how physics works. The acoustics of theaters are quite complex in that way.
Wow, very cool. Are we allowed, Lauren, I do want to ask up top just because it's on the tip of my tongue. Are we allowed to say Macbeth?
I think so. None of us are in a theater currently.
Perfect. Macbeth. Oh
no, a chandelier fell on Eric.
Why is there one in here? Ow!
Oh, I'm so sorry.
There's a phantom half inside of me. He's sticking out. Now only half of my face has skin on it.
You can still host though, right, Eric? You can still co-host.
James Marston, please help me.
I'm getting word that he's at jury duty. I'm so sorry, Eric. You do have to power through.
Jury Duty's the new Candor and Ebb musical, right?
Yes, of course. You've heard about it. Yes.
Yeah, it's in previews currently, but I've heard great things.
Absolutely. And Eric, I got to say, big chandelier falling on you. What a tragedy. But the show must go on. Eric, why don't you go ahead and take us on over to Act 1.
Absolutely. Space Jam 2 would have been so much better as a musical for sure. If only the
That's what I told
algorithm had
LeBron.
created that would have been, LeBron should have made it as a musical. Like, and
Absolutely.
before Algae Rhythm, she changed it just into a terrible sequel.
Yes, if Marvin the Martian would have done some sort of Hamilton rap about basketball, I think we all agree that would have been Oscar worthy.
High art, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
I'm imagining him as Hercules Mulligan. And all right, Act 1. Just tell me about it. Lauren, I have 10 foundational points about Steven Sondheim here. I would love it if you could give us an overview of your topic in these 5 minutes. You get points for each bullet you hit, especially if you make it sound interesting and cool.
Absolutely. Has the time started? Am I on the clock?
You can start whenever you step
Whenever
out on
I want?
stage. Yes.
Great. Okay. Here I am. I'm going into the spotlight. Steven Sondheim, as I mentioned, is the greatest musical theater composer who ever lived. He was writing musicals from the 50s all the way through the 2000s. He was working on a new musical when he passed away a couple of years ago, so he never stopped, even at age 91.
Space Jam 2, that's what happened.
Space Jam 2 was, unfortunately, it was what he was writing, which is why we didn't sadly get to see it fully realized because he didn't finish it. But perhaps
we
someday.
should say Space Jam 2 Into the Jams.
Of course. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
With a Z at the end, of course. Yeah. I mean, he kept up with the modern times, He really was always evolving his art. Mm-hmm. And he is responsible for so much of what we think of as musical theater today. He was incredibly formative to me personally, and also to the art of musical theater. He was mentored by Oscar Hammerstein II, who is, of course, a very, very famous musical theater composer from the earlier years of musical theater, wrote Oklahoma, which was one of the first transformative musicals in the sense that it introduced the book musical to the wider musical theater audience, which was basically saying, hey, look, musicals can have stories as well as songs.
Yeah.
And the songs can relate to the stories. And isn't that novel? And so Sondheim, when he was 10 years old, he met Oscar Hammerstein, and he then shared a musical with Hammerstein that he wrote when he was 16. And Hammerstein was like, this is awful, and we're going to spend the whole day talking about why it's terrible. And that is how Steven Sondheim learned how to write musicals.
Oh, just like Adal does at the end of every episode. He got it from Steven Sondheim. I get it.
Exactly. Yes. And Steven Sondheim has passed on that particular kind of constructive criticism to to musical theater composers of the newer generation. So Jonathan Larson, Adam Guettel, Lin-Manuel Miranda, all of them were directly mentored by Steven Sondheim at various stages, which I think is very, very cool. The first musical that Steven Sondheim ever worked on was West Side Story, which, like, can you imagine the first job you ever have? You're 24 years old, and Leonard Bernstein asks you to write lyrics for his Romeo and Juliet musical, and you do, and it becomes one of the most famous musicals of all time, and you are not even a quarter century old. That's incredible.
Very relatable for me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that is, well, and of course, Adal, you got your first billion before the age of 23, so you relate.
Yes, I peaked early, I peaked middle, I peaked late. I hope to continue to peak.
Yeah.
You're really mountain ranging your life here.
Yes, thank you.
And Sondheim also, I think, mountain ranged his life. He had some misses, but he had a lot of hits. And he created essentially what we know as the concept musical. Company, which he wrote in the 70s, was a musical that was held together through a concept rather than an actual plot. And a lot of musicals that have been written since then follow that, from the last 5 years to, I think that there is, elements of a concept musical in a lot of the modern Broadway musicals. Yeah, he's just incredibly, incredibly inspirational to so many musical theater writers. And like I said, he was incredibly inspirational to me on a personal note. I grew up on his music, and my family communicates through Sondheim lyrics. Like, there are just these little reference points that when someone says something about being happy, we all sing "I'm so happy, you're so happy" from Into the Woods. And anytime anybody mentions the country Austria, we sing Austria, Count Ludovic of Austria from Passion. And so it's really been a shorthand my whole life. It's still a shorthand today, and still a point of inspiration for me. I've read Finishing the Hat and Look, I Made a Hat, his collected lyrics and annotations, and it's full of brilliant, brilliant insights, and his 3 central storytelling rules, which are less is more, content dictates form, God is in the details, all in the service of clarity. And I think that those are just good guidelines to follow for really everything in life, especially art.
What makes a Sondheim musical a Sondheim musical? Like, if you covered up the author page, how would you know? I
mean, he definitely has some repeated musical phrases in all of his musicals, which I think is true of all composers and songwriters in general, pop songwriters as well, where there's certain phrases that they go back to again and again. And actually, to counteract this, Sondheim would write lying down on his couch rather than at a piano, so that his hands didn't fall in the same place on the keyboard as he was writing. But also, I think that another thing he felt really strongly about was that tunes didn't have to be hummable. They didn't have to be catchy, which sounds like a bad thing, but it's one of the things I love about his songwriting is that the songs are not necessarily catchy, but they're interesting. And he certainly also did write a lot of very catchy songs that sort of entered the popular cultural zeitgeist, probably most famously Send in the Clowns.
Lauren, I'm so sorry to do this, but as a billionaire, I feel free to. I have to hard disagree in terms of that song, Thank You All for Coming to the Wedding. I feel like that is the easiest little hummable tune. I can rattle off the lyrics even when I'm in the shower. It just feels so simple.
I'd love to hear you rattle off the lyrics.
You know what? I would, but at the moment, this is your time. This is your show.
That's fair. That's fair.
I always liken it to Hold My Hand, and that it's just so easy to say and sing and remember.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And he was really famous for those kinds of tunes, Getting Married Today from Company and The Miller's Son from A Little Night Music, which are incredibly wordy. That's the other thing I would identify in his works. One of my favorite lyrics of his is from Into the Woods, while we sit and dither, while her withers wither with her. And it's just that's just a great encapsulation of the way that he would play with words. Yes. And so I think that you can really tell a Sondheim musical by the playfulness of the rhyming, by the emotionality of the songs, and by the thematic through lines, both in the lyrics and the music, that ties a show together. They're really complete works rather than scene, song, sing, scene, song, sing. Oh my God, that's hard to say. Scene, song.
Scene, song, sing, song.
Oh, it's like a Sondheim lyric. I got it. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
And I do have to say, as a billionaire, the general public doesn't know about this, but late in his life, Steven actually collaborated with a well-known speaker company to create some new headphones, much like Dr. Dre did. And he was going to come out with some new in-ear, over-ear headphones called Verbose.
Of course, yeah.
It's a nice portmanteau of him being verbose and Bose.
The audience is standing and clapping.
Please. No, I couldn't. We have sign posters out in the lobby. Please contribute. Sorry, Lauren, back to your show.
And time.
Outstanding. Lauren, you are clearly very knowledgeable, very enthused. You are fervent, electrified, all the words that Steven Sondheim might use in a song about you. Outstanding job. I'm going to go ahead and give you, I want to say, do we know how many songs Steven Sondheim wrote?
I mean, it's got to be in the hundreds.
Okay. Eric, give her hundreds of points.
Okay.
I'll leave that open to your interpretation.
Generally hundreds of points for sure.
Yes.
Lauren, here's the thing. The Steven Sondheim Wikipedia page is long.
He has a separate page just for his awards.
Yeah, for sure. So there was a lot to pull from here, but you did hit on a bunch of stuff. Of course, how important he is to the American musical, his complex polyphony in his vocals, and also hanging out with Oscar Hammerstein II and Lin-Manuel Miranda and Jonathan Larson. All of that really important. I also want to point out that the full titles of the autobiographies are Finishing the Hat, Collected Lyrics with Attendant Comments, Principles, Hearsays, Grudges, Wines, and Anecdotes. And look, I made a hat, collected lyrics with attendant comments, amplifications, dogmas, harangues, digressions, anecdotes, and miscellany. I thought
he couldn't help himself even with his book titles.
Even with the titles.
I would hate to get a thank you card from this man. I'd still be reading it.
Well, he was famous for his letters, too. He would, if anybody who sent him a letter, he would type one up for them on his typewriter and send them back. And he encouraged a lot of amateur musical theater writers that way.
Yeah. But there was a lot here that you didn't hit. For example, I really wanted to know more about his how many Tonys he won and his Kennedy Center honors. Also, big fan of games, Steven Sondheim. So he's loved
games. That's true. Yes.
I definitely wanted to point that out.
Well, his final appearance was in Knives Out 2?
It was.
Glass Onion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's written murder mysteries and would do murder mystery parties and wrote a bunch of crosswords. And sorry, Eric, you.
Oh, yeah. No, he loved crosswords and puzzles and all that stuff. He was legendary for concocting puzzle scavenger hunts and murder mystery games for his theater friends. So you got a gentleman's, a baker's worth. 5 out of 10.
Excellent. Ooh. Okay. I'm okay with that. It is a prolific life. I mean, there's stuff that in his personal life that I think is fascinating. His relationship with his mother is like a very interesting thing. So, it's hard to fit into 5 minutes.
Yeah. He never adapted Oedipus, but he could have.
He could have.
Honestly. He could have.
And Eric, it's funny you mentioned Baker's Dozen because here to present the bonus questions, the baker himself in a recent remount of Into the Woods, Brian Darcy James. Come on in here, Brian Darcy James.
He really hasn't been able to work since Smash. I'm glad we got him.
Wow, he doesn't want to. Oh, he's shaking his head. No, interesting. Okay, I guess fuck me. Sorry, Brian Darcy James.
Nice to see you.
It's because you didn't pronounce the apostrophe, and I think that was the big problem.
It's Darcy.
Darcy James.
Yeah.
Like D'Arcy Carden.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
From the good place. D'Arcy Carden from the good place. Makes me want to talk like this. Lauren, astounding job. Hundreds of points go to you. A few bonus points. And I do want to mention, Lauren, I love this notion that 10 extra points to Lauren for knowing that Sondheim would write letters to anyone who wrote to him, type up some letters. I do want to let the general public know, if anyone writes me a letter, sends me a postcard, anything, I will not respond fully, but I will send you an inedible arrangement. So look forward to that.
Oh, nice.
Lauren, you mentioned, if you don't mind repeating, what were the 3 storytelling rules you said Sondheim set forth?
Mm-hmm. Content dictates form. Less is more. God is in the details. All in the service of clarity.
I love that. I do want to let you know a motto or slogan that I like to follow in terms of storytelling is that any good piece of film, TV, or pop culture should be funny, sad, strange, and beautiful. Do you know the creator of what show said that a piece of art should be funny, sad, strange, and beautiful? I'll give you a hint. Nickelodeon.
The person who created SpongeBob?
Very close. It was actually the creator of Pete and Pete.
Nice. That's incredible.
Okay. I was not a Nickelodeon kid, so
I was
not likely to get this.
I was going to say Family Guy because all Seth MacFarlane wishes he was Sondheim, man.
That is very true.
Very true. Very true. Same with Matt Stone and Trey Parker, I believe.
Yeah.
Eric, go ahead and give Lauren 10.99 points to, of course, use those points to subscribe to a Nickelodeon streaming service. I assume that they have.
Yeah, and that it costs $11.
Even more max. Yeah, it's $10.99.
Lauren, for another bonus point, I recently, well, actually twice, I saw the newer remount of the gender swap remount of Company.
Ah, yes.
Starring one of my favorite Broadway actors of all time. Might be my number one favorite. He was also in the original cast of Wicked. Do you know whom I speak about?
I do not. I am at a loss.
Christopher Fitzgerald is possibly my number one favorite Broadway actor of all time. If you ever get a chance to see him, please see him.
Yeah, I absolutely will have to. I saw the gender swap Company in London, and so it was a slightly different cast.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but they were all great.
Good. He was also he was in Waitress. I believe he was original cast member in Waitress.
Oh, I love that show. Okay, so I probably have seen him in various things.
As Oki, I believe, is the character.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was also in Waitress, but I was more me just ordering pie when I was sad.
Yes.
At a diner.
That is how you waitress.
I'm just like, I need sugar, butter, flour. Now I am dealing.
Take it from an old man, Eric. Go ahead and give Lauren 50 points for having seen the new Company in London. We love that. We appreciate that. One final question for bonus points, Lauren. As a child, you mentioned that you and your family, and even today, you and your family enjoy communicating in Sondheim lyrics. Lauren, what is your absolutely number one, hands down favorite Sondheim song? And can you please sing one little lyric from it?
I don't know that I could ever pick a favorite song, but my favorite Sondheim lyric is from Move On from Sunday in the Park with George. And my favorite lyric is, anything you do, let it come from you, then it will be new. Give us more to see. That's a great lyric.
Beautiful. A great lyric sung by a great voice. Eric, go ahead and give this angel that just appeared on stage 77 points.
Oh.
2 sevens to represent heaven because an angel's voice just appeared.
Thank you,
I had no idea you could sing so beautifully.
I used to be a musical theater performer way back in the day.
Oh, I couldn't tell from you coming onto a podcast to talk about Steven Sondheim. Wouldn't have known.
Eric, 50 more points. 50 more points.
There's such a cadence in Sondheim's lyrics where you're like, I'm listening to what's happening. I know this is being sung, and I'm like, this is important. I'm going to have to pay attention to the plot and the singing at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, that's what makes listening to musicals over and over again so enriching, is that there's always something new to discover and something else to appreciate that you'd like never noticed before.
Yeah. And if you want to appreciate all styles of musicals, you should listen to, I want to say the song is called A Musical from Something Rotten, where they ape and parody every single style of musical.
That's awesome.
Something Rotten, of course, starring Brian Darcy James. No, I said it wrong again. He does not want to come up on stage.
Wow, he's really scowling at you.
He is giving me an evil eye.
Yeah.
That is so weird. Eric, as I try and de-escalate this situation, can you go ahead and let everyone know how many points Lauren has at the end of Act 1?
I wish he... I loved Smash.
Lauren, coming to Broadway. Smash is coming to Broadway.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous, which is absolutely ridiculous.
That's a very
needed the public
product.
to know.
It's very important. We are narrow casting to a very specific group of people. Lauren, I decided that the hundreds of points would be 213 because I didn't want to give you more because it was pretty disgusting how much you and your family love each other. But adding up all of those bonus points, you have 415 points and 99 cents.
Oh, fantastic. Wow, I'm feeling good.
But remember, 10.99 will go towards a monthly service or subscription to Nickelodeon streaming, which I assume is something.
Yes, that's right. That's going right out the door.
I assume they have all the double dares.
Lauren, you can pay $100 right now to get the annual plan.
You know, I want to try it out. I want to make sure I like the content first.
Oh, that's fair.
Do I get the 7-day free trial?
Yeah, that's fine. Lauren's also giving that $10.99 to the Tell Me About It Patreon instead.
Smart.
Exactly.
That's smart.
It's helpful.
Eric, why don't we go ahead and let the orchestra know we are now heading to Act 2.
Act 2, the perfect thing. Lauren, what is the perfect encapsulation of Steven Sondheim? If someone asked you, well, what's an example of why you love Steven Sondheim so much? What would you say? And you can't use the one you used previously in the episode. It was a gotcha question. Adal got you because he's a genius billionaire.
So, In my opinion, the most perfect encapsulation of Sondheim is his most perfect musical, which is Assassins. Now, Assassins is one of his slightly lesser-known musicals that's not mounted all that often, but it is one of his collaborations with John Weidman, a brilliant playwright, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It is a musical about all of the assassins in American history, starting with John Wilkes Booth and going up through Lee Harvey Oswald. And I realize this, describing it sounds very bizarre as a musical, but it is very much a concept musical, which is why I think it's a perfect encapsulation of the play with form that Sondheim is very good at. And there's absolutely no dead air anywhere in the entire musical. It's incredibly tightly crafted. It's incredibly thematically consistent. It's really about the promise of the American dream and how the narrative of the American dream erodes at people to the point that they end up doing these desperate things. And structurally, it's really interesting. It's all of these assassins gathering at a fair in which they are competing in a contest to shoot the president, in a sort of fun fair style shooting gallery. And by the end, they sort of take over the narrative, and they sing a song called Another National Anthem, which is them kind of coming forward and saying, this is, our patriotism is that we weren't given prizes, and so therefore we're going to take prizes. And it's just a really wonderful indictment of the American narrative while still being, loving to the people who occupy America anyway. I don't really know how to perfectly describe it, but it's incredibly smart. It's incredibly well crafted. Sondheim himself said that it was his most perfect musical. It's the closest he got to making something that didn't need to be fixed. And it also has some really great songs.
I think the first time that I heard that Assassins existed, I thought that theater kids were lying to me. It's it's a musical where it's all people trying to kill the president. Neat. I'm like, that's a Tumblr thing. That is 2009, 2007 Tumblr trying to come together and tell me something. It's a collective joke you all have.
Another thing is that it is educational. A lot of the lyrics... Wait, stay with me.
Okay, all right.
A lot of the lyrics in the show are actually taken from the last words or the sort of manifestos of these assassins. And so you really do learn about how at least these people viewed their own intentions. And also you learn more about the assassins that we don't talk about so much, like Czolgosz and Charles Guiteau and these people who are not Lee Harvey Oswald or John Wilkes Booth and who've sort of faded into obscurity a little bit more.
Sirhan, I want to say. So this user's manual on how to assassinate a president, this can be found anywhere online?
Yes, it sure can.
Yeah, you just take the musical and mix it with some nitroglycerin and some sugar.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
That's one that I've never seen on stage. As a patron of the arts, I have never seen it. I am ashamed to say, but I did once. I don't know this woman. Someone named Erin Keefe once sent me the album, and I had to listen to it just because I felt like I needed to. And it was an incredible, from front to start. It is from front to start. So just the first song is what I mean by that.
Right.
From front to back, from start to finish, from beginning to start. It was incredible. So I am very much wanting to see it sometime soon on Broadway. I think it was recently remounted.
So it had its last Broadway revival in 2004, but it was recently done at Classic Stage Company maybe a year ago. And that was actually the first time I had ever seen it on stage because when it came out in 2004, and I will be bitter about this for the rest of my life, my father took my older sister and thought that I was too young for it. And so I did not see
Here's the thing. Your dad, fair.
Okay, but he also...
fair thing to say?
He took me and my sister to go see Moulin Rouge when I was 10 years old.
Okay, I'm pushing back. Your dad is incorrect and inconsistent.
Assassins at 13, I think I could have handled.
Fair.
But did he know the musical? Because in his head there might have been songs that were like brains on my dress, got brains on my dress, big parade in Dallas, right? So my apologies if that's too soon.
No, that's from Moulin Rouge. That one's from Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, that was Moulin Rouge. He knew that there were guns pointed at the audience, and so I think that I get is something that especially in our climate, maybe not the most fun thing. So that I do respect. I think he knew that was coming. But yeah, he knew the musical. He's really the one who got us into Sondheim. He has been obsessed since he was 18 years old, and so that was our introduction when we were kids. Was listening to all these cast albums.
Amazing. Well, this has re-inspired me to listen to Assassins again. So for that, I thank you and I award you 200 points.
200 points.
Thank you. I feel like I hit the bullseye at the President's Shooting Gallery.
I'm waiting for the expansion pack that has the guy who threw the shoe at George W. Bush and just a bunch of dudes from January 6th just showing up in the middle of Act 1.
And you're given a bucket of shoes as ammo.
Yeah.
It's like part of the expansion. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, actually, this guy was fine. He was right the whole time.
Lauren, for a bonus point for Act 2, and hopefully this is not in poor taste, I'm going to ask you, and I got to be honest, I don't know the answer. Abraham Lincoln famously wore a stove top hat. Is that what they're called? Yeah. And I want you to guess what the ratio is. When he put on the hat, what was the ratio of head under hat to just open air in hat?
Oh, man. I mean, it's a great question. I'm going to guess that, like, his head reached sort of the halfway point of the hat, and then the rest was all air.
Lauren, I have to completely agree with you for that. It was, since you said 50-50, I'm going to give you 50 points.
Thank you.
And I think John Wilkes Booth got lucky. That coin flip could have easily gone the other way, shoots straight through the guy's hat.
Yep.
Guy turns around, stands up. Oh no, he's 6'7", and he pummels you.
That sounds like an exam. That sounds like a question from a state exam. It's like, Abe Lincoln has a stovepipe hat on. How much if Abe Lincoln's head is halfway up the stovepipe hat? What is the area?
How fast does the bullet need to be going?
Yeah, imagine the hat is a perfect cylinder.
See, Eric, you just confirmed my fear, which was when I said stovetop hat. I said, is that right? And then you said stovepipe hat. Which one is it?
I'm not allowed to correct you, but
okay, that's good. That's good.
That's true. Not after last time.
No, because that's going to be one of the like Sondheim critiques you're going to give me. It's like, you embarrassed me in front of Lauren Shippen, and I didn't want that.
I know from Undercover Boss, where I pretended to be a poor person, I know there's a thing called stovetop stuffing, but is there a stovetop hat?
You insisted to go to a stuffing factory, and I said, what is that? And you said, make it happen, and I said, okay. And
so you built a stuffing factory.
You founded a company that was a stuffing that made stuffing in a factory, and then you Undercover Bossed yourself.
And that company is Pepperidge Farms.
Yeah.
And I think they're still going. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to check my bank statements. Yeah.
I can't remember.
See if I get a direct deposit. I went undercover by wearing what I normally wear and then holding up my finger under my nose.
Oh, how'd that work out?
Everyone recognized me immediately somehow. Yeah.
Somehow.
Fingers aren't mustaches, it turns out. Eric, why don't you go ahead and let us know what the final tally is after Act 2?
Lauren is currently at $665.99. However, I do need to subtract the $10.99 because you've already signed up for Nickelodeon Plus.
Ooh, nice.
So you are at 655 points.
Respectable. Okay.
Absolutely respectable.
Hey, it's Eric, where I can talk to you directly without a rich guy looking over my shoulder and trying to hunt me. And I think that one of the listeners is my mom, who has not been listening to episodes because the topics haven't interested her, but I think musicals will get her. So hi, Mom, if you are listening, please text me if you are. And I will tell you next episode, other listeners who's not my mom, she did text me. Now, for any European listeners, you all talk about how you can just get on a train and go anywhere in Europe. So I want you to prove it because I am doing a live show in Manchester, England, August 19th, 7:30 at the Empty Space in Media City, UK in Manchester. I am so excited. This is my first time to the United Kingdom and certainly the first time that I'm performing in a different continent other than North America. I am so stoked. It's going to be a night of advice questions about games, about having fun, and it's going to have Amanda McLaughlin, my wife, who you might know from a previous Tell Me About It episode, and Jasper Cartwright of Three Black Halflings and Games and Feelings. And we're going to have another UK guest as well. You can get this through the Games and Feelings website, which is gamesandfeelings.com/live, but it is not like a Games and Feelings live show. It's just like an excuse for us to talk about games, answer advice questions about games, then do some fun stuff. Listen, if you live in Europe, I'd really love to see you, especially you can see me in person when I'm not just being like an audio butler. The doors are at 7, starts at 7:30, Saturday, August 19th, the Empty Space at Media City, UK in Manchester, England. I hope to see you there. If you didn't know, we have a Patreon at patreon.com/TMAIpod, and that's where you can get ad-free episodes of Tell Me About It. I hope you really would enjoy that. If you don't know, go check it out. Patreon.com/TMAIpod. We also have more wonderful shows here at Multitude. I think you'd really like Exolore. Have you ever wondered what life would be like on a planet different from our own, or how writers create your favorite fictional worlds? Well, wonder no more, because we have the facts here for you. Every other week, Dr. Moya McTeer, you might remember her from the Exoplanets episode, explores fictional worlds by building them with a panel of expert guests, interviewing professional world builders, or reviewing the merits of worlds that have already been built. I've been on the show. It's such an interesting mix of like creativity and science, something that only Dr. Moya McTeer can bring. You'll learn, you'll laugh, you'll get an appreciation for how special our planet really is. So subscribe today by searching Exolore in your podcast app or go to exolorepod.com. We are sponsored this week by Volante Design, creators of gorgeous clothing and cosplay items. They're a fantastic small business passionate about pop culture, clothing, and making people feel badass, and they ship internationally. Bang, bang, bang. You've got to see their items to believe how beautiful they are. Starfleet leather jackets, vests in a Victorian Gothic style, a ninja collection that makes you feel like a rogue IRL, Lord of the Rings gowns, and more. Best of all, you can get $30 off your purchase at volantedesigns.us with code TMAI at checkout. Go browse. If you've seen like those people who dress up at Disney World, but you're not allowed to actually like cosplay, so that you just like kind of give the vibe of a Disney character because you can't cosplay at Disney World or Disneyland, Volante's kind of doing that for everything. How you can walk around and people won't know that like you are playing someone from Starfleet or you are someone from Assassin's Creed, but you'll know, and also you look sick as you do it. That's volantedesign.us. VOLANTE design.us, code TMAI. Now, back to the show.
What's even more respectable is Act 3, where I think we have a bit of denouement.
Yeah, sorry, I have to invite the chorus on stage. There's a Greek chorus that's going to ask Lauren Shippen a bunch of questions. This is the question and answer period, where we have follow-up questions for you that are the gotcha questions. That's kind of move the libretto along. We're going to do that in Act 3. Please answer as many as possible.
Lauren, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, question number 1. Since this episode is all about Sondheim, if I can paraphrase, you're saying all other musicals by other people are bad? Like, including Grease? Wow, Lauren, a bold stance. Please elaborate.
I actually think that my stance says the reverse, which is that because Steven Sondheim is such an enormous influence on musical theater, therefore every musical made since West Side Story is better for it. And Grease 2, and Rise of the Pink Ladies, the new Grease show, which I actually really enjoy, are there because of the ground that Steven Sondheim paved.
Wow. Lauren, I apologize. I take it all back. You are absolutely correct. I do think Jim Jacobs took some inspiration from Sondheim. So here we go on to question number 2. Lauren, please defend the suburban high school performance of West Side Story where junior Gretchen Vandermeer is playing Maria.
I mean, I don't know that I can defend that. Obviously, I don't know Gretchen Vandermeer's
her performance is indefensible. You're right.
I looked into her. White. It's very, very well, white family.
But yeah, I mean, white high schools should not perform West Side Story. My high school did that, and I can't defend it.
Yeah. And Gretchen, stop rolling your R's in the song.
Gretchen, no one cares.
Oh no, you're doing the Spanish lyric version? None of you can pull that off.
I don't care that your friend Anita got the role Anita. You both do not speak Spanish.
Sorry to put you on blast, Gretchen. Do better. Question number 3.
I'm sorry. This is a perfect opportunity for me to put on blast. And my wife Amanda's high school, they did a performance, and it was Long Island, almost all white, of Once on This Island, which is about mythology of the Gullah Geechee culture.
Now that's really, that is a choice.
It's still funny. Every time it comes up, I laugh.
Yeah, boy, oh boy.
I saw Once on This Island on Broadway a few years ago, and 2 things happened. 1, my wife was very upset during intermission where she said, "Great, a goat has a Broadway credit and I do not. This sucks." And 2, Patti LuPone was there with, I assume, her son or some sort of nephew, Grease 3. And she was the only person who refused to give a standing ovation, and everyone stared at her.
Oh my God.
She hated the goat. It was the goat.
It was the goat. Yeah.
She thinks she's the goat. She felt threatened.
Exactly.
All right, Lauren, question number 3. Sondheim's impact on the form of musical theater is undeniable, but is it worth it to have created theater kids? And therefore, Lin-Manuel Miranda's photo of him biting his lip.
Ooh, that is a tough domino sequence to defend.
If you've never seen the photo, for those of you listening, you can imagine it. You can imagine it. You get it.
Well, if you've never seen it, Google is Google is Google.
That's true.
Exactly. So you know how sometimes when deer populations get out of hand and start to be dangerous to the ecosystem?
Deer populations or dear Evan Hansen.
Thank you. Yes. Biologists will introduce wolves back into the ecosystem in order to cull the deer population. So I think that theater kids serve a similar purpose in our society and culture, which is that if we didn't have theater kids, I fear that earnestness would die completely. I think that, you know, cringe culture is dead. Nothing is cringe. I am cringe, I am free, etc. And I think that we really need just a constant stream of 12 to 24-year-olds who are incredibly earnest and into musical theater in order to make us all feel okay about being into the stuff that we're into.
Lauren, I love that, because if we don't have earnest theater kids, then we don't have tweets like, I just saw blank, I'm shaking.
Exactly. And where would we be? Where would we be?
That's it. That's the tweet. That's it.
Or I just saw blank, I'm literally broken.
That's backbone of society, those tweets.
I think we have to introduce more theater kids because my TikTok algorithm is crazy with like fast food fights. And I think we need more earnestness.
Yes.
Also, I think speaking of fast food, theater kids are integral to the local diner industry.
True.
Oh my gosh. They have to go out afterwards. With their t-shirts that have the entire cast of the show on the back.
Their makeup's still on.
They have to go to Steak and Shake, get a Frisco melt, and talk for 3 hours about how amazing everything went.
And do an impromptu musical number.
One order of disco fries bothering everyone in the entire diner the entire time.
And the staff has to keep saying, please stop standing on the tables. You're not in a musical.
Sugar, butter, flour, please.
But the local diner population needs them.
Yes, absolutely, or else they'll die off.
They're the moray eels attached to the bottom of the diner show.
Exactly.
Yes.
I understand.
When an eel bites your heel, that's a moray. Lauren, I think what I heard is scientists at least, need to reintroduce wolves into high schools to help thin out the theater kid population. And I have to say, admittedly, I was a theater kid, so I was a part of this group that I appreciate.
And that's why the Adal Rifai Billionaire Fund is pivoting to STEM in high school.
Yes.
Only. STEM only.
Thank you
because
so
those
much.
theater kids have enough.
We've invested too much. We have to pivot.
They're sitting too high on the horse, if you get my drift. Lauren, incredible job. I'm going to give you a chance for a few bonus questions. Now, you just mentioned that theater kids are, if they ever went away, that would be the death of earnestness. As we all know, sadly, within the last 20 years, earnestness died. The star of such movies as Earnestness Saves Christmas, Earnestness Goes to Jail. Do you remember the actor's name who played Earnestness?
Clive Ernest.
It's the importance of being earnest. That was my
Thank you. I believe his name was Jim Varney, but Lauren, that name was better, so 10 points for you. And then, Lauren, we have one extra bonus question, which is, pop quiz, tell me how Steven Sondheim reviewed the South Park movie, which was, of course, a musical.
Oh, gosh. I'm going to guess that it was something akin to Roger Ebert's review of The Mummy, which is that it had nothing to recommend it. The script was terrible. The plot didn't make any sense, but he enjoyed every second of it. That would be my guess.
Lauren, you're close. He said, oh, yes, I think South Park Uncut is just terrific, and the numbers in it are wonderful.
Oh, so just a glowing review all around.
Yeah,
excellent.
You're right that at the end of the day, he was like, I'm not even going to talk about Satan holding up a fake penis, I believe, or Saddam Hussein holding up a fake. I'm just going to cut to the chase and say this was an absolute blast. So another 10 points to Lauren, please.
Nothing was better than when Sondheim was promoting his books, because then people just asked him stuff. he just said that in like a CBC interview.
Excellent. Yeah, he would just say anything. It was great.
Eric, please go ahead and let us know how many points Lauren has at the end of Act 3.
Lauren.
Did we ever have an intermission? Fuck. Eric, I told you we need an intermission to push merch. We have $35 magnets. Everyone try the, I want to say it's called a Lauren and Tonic. That's a fun little play on it. That'll work.
It's $55. It's 4 ounces.
Yep.
Yes, $55, 4 ounces, but it's $85 if you want to keep the cup. The cup, of course, is just a little curved ball of aluminum foil.
There's a really cute cartoon of Adal and I as caricatures.
Yes. There's a studio recording of this episode, which was done a few months ago, that you can only buy on CD for some reason.
Yep.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that'll make us back our money.
The lights are coming on and off, so I think we have to get our seats.
Okay, yes. Eric, go ahead and now let us know how many points does Lauren have at the end of Act 3.
And the curtain opens and the audience stands and claps. Lauren, you have 675 points.
Excellent.
Incredible.
Fantastic. And now it is time. Eric, go ahead and come on stage as tree number 6 for Act 4.
I have magic to do. It's the Wheel of Extraordinary Challenges.
Yay!
That's right. I've instructed my manservant and tree number 6 to prepare a few wacky minigames here to test your intellectual and creative mettle. Eric, I'm sorry, tree number 6, what do we have today?
Honestly, it's better than being in one of those singing restaurants. I'll take whatever part I can get. Lauren, we're playing Guess These Sondheim Shows based on my bad summaries.
Oh, excellent. I'm so excited.
It's exactly what it says in the tin. I've collected a few shows created by Steven Sondheim, and I have some bad summaries of them. Please tell me as soon as you recognize them, and we'll tally up your points.
Amazing.
All right, first things first. Number 1, VH1's Behind the Musical.
Merrily we roll along.
Absolutely.
Nice.
I saw it right before I started a company, and it made me feel really weird.
It does that.
Yeah. All right. Summary 2. Man complains about fast food burger and hijacks a plane.
Assassins.
That's Assassins. I love all of the ones where the assassinations didn't happen. It's all the people who fucked up. This particular guy complained about eating a burger, threw it out of his car, and said, "Hey, I'm from Boston. It's all right." Then hijacked a plane and tried to kill Richard Nixon. I love this musical. It's ridiculous.
Also, interestingly, Sam Bick, that guy, recorded and sent a lot of just recordings of him talking to Leonard Bernstein. Like, he was obsessed with him.
Oh my God.
So another little musical theater connection there.
Yeah. I did the same, and I'm still not in a musical. That's pretty rude. That's pretty
Well, you reached out to Leonard Cohen, who still should have made you musical.
Yeah. I heard there was a secret chord. Eric Silver, leave me alone. But you won't really listen to me, would you? Number 3. Hey, what a succinct story about everyone getting what they want, I say, leaving at intermission.
Into the woods.
That's Into the Woods. Man, what a prank. What an absolute prank on people who have stuff to do. Number 4. It's a rom-com, really. You move to a new town, you fall in love, you become a found family for a child, and then a happy ending at the end.
Oh, I'm stuck on this one. Moved to a new town, found family with a child.
Maybe if you're falling in love with one of those rom-com jobs, like maybe an advertising executive or a baker.
I mean, that sounds like the second act of Into the Woods, but
That's true.
Is it Saturday night?
No, it's just Sweeney Todd, Lauren.
Oh, Sweeney Todd. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's a good bad summary.
It was a
Sweeney
really
Todd.
bad summary. Yes, but you still got 3 out of 4.
That's great. The rom-com threw me.
Yeah. Hey, Lauren, let's make a promise. If we're still single by 35, let's get married so our friends stop lecturing us for the entire length of this musical.
Company.
That's company. It's the 60s. Everything's a sex comedy, even if the genre doesn't make sense.
A funny thing happened on the way to the forum.
Yeah. Hey, folks, let's try to make the Roman times super sexy. Hey, Lauren, how about this one? It's Julie and Julia, the musical.
Oh my gosh.
Which, if you've never seen Julie and Julia, I can also tell you, well, see, the thing is I'm having trouble in the present, which is just like my artistic hero in the past.
Oh, Sunday in the Park with George.
Yeah.
Yeah. Julie and Julia is like an interesting comparison. I see that.
Which is better for expressing yourself? Is it cooking or is it really, really tiny points that eventually becomes a picture?
Really, really tiny points, or that turn it into a light show in your grandson's art.
Yeah.
And make a brief appearance, I want to say, in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yeah. Significant appearance. Yeah.
Nailed it. All right, Lauren, we have two more. Get out of the way. Mama's doing a solo.
Gypsy.
Although that could also be Chicago.
That could describe a lot of theater, honestly. Including just what happens behind the scenes as well.
Yeah. I mean, that could also apply to me when I step into a karaoke room.
That's just you in Chicago.
It is Adal's turn.
Yes, when I sing Michelle Branches everywhere.
Oh, great choice.
Oh,
Thank
good
you.
song.
10 points. 10 points to Lauren.
10 more points. I'm at 1,000 miles, girl, but that's fine. And final one, Lauren. Hey, let's dig up George Bernard Shaw and William Shakespeare, because art pretty much sucks now.
The frogs?
That's the frogs, yes!
Wow.
I needed to talk about, I included this specifically. That's not even a bad summary. That's just a summary.
I can't believe that I got the frogs and not Sweeney Todd.
I know. You really min-maxed yourself on this. Can I just summarize? Can I just tell you about the musical The Frogs?
Please.
For anyone who doesn't know, I mean, Lauren, you got it. Okay, so it's a musical that's freely adapted from an ancient Greek comedy by Aristophanes. In the musical, Dionysus despairs the quality of living dramatists and travels to Hades to bring George Bernard Shaw back from the dead, and then him and William Shakespeare have pretty much a rap battle for the final act.
It's a romping good time.
Yeah, the original performance of it was at Yale, and it was done in the swimming pool, where the Yale swim team were the frogs on the River Styx.
Perfect.
Which is just
outstanding.
Only something that could happen in Yale in the 70s, apparently.
Truly.
I feel like you just described Meow Wolf.
What is Meow Wolf?
It's an immersive art collective housed in Santa Fe, Denver, Las Vegas, and soon-to-be Grapevine, Texas. It's just, you walk through a space and it feels like you're on nonstop mushrooms.
Excellent. Yeah, love it. They should do a production of the frogs.
It'd be better if
Eric, make it happen.
It would be better if it was actually a rap battle, like epic rap battles of history. George Bernard Shaw versus William Shakespeare. Begin. Lauren, in order for you to redeem yourself, I do have an opportunity for a bonus point here.
Excellent.
Sondheim expressed interest in the idea of creating a musical based on a classic 90s comedy film. But in a 2008 live chat, he said, to make a musical of blank would just be to gild the lily. It cannot be improved. It eventually was, in fact, made into a musical. Do you know what movie this is?
I do. It was Groundhog Day.
It was Groundhog Day.
Wow.
Yeah. And I believe he gave his blessing to Tim Minchin and the other writers of the musical and was like, yeah, you guys do it. Go for it.
He did it, but how much money are you getting to do a musical that sometimes don't do this?
Don't do that. It's already a perfect film. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah. Well, Lauren, we're totally going to erase the Sweeney Todd fuck up you had before getting the bonus point. That's full marks. Congratulations. 10 points.
Thank you. Thank you.
Outstanding job. Let's go ahead and give 300 points for that performance.
Bang.
Oh, amazing.
And Lauren, for a bonus point, this has nothing to do with Sondheim, but I do have to ask, have you heard the aforementioned musical Dear Evan Hansen?
I have. I have seen it.
Lauren, I do have to ask you, since I've also seen it, can you guess what my least favorite song was?
Oh.
Is it the whole second act of the musical?
Is it the one about baseball?
It's the one about baseball. It's the one about a glove and how to
wear in a glove.
How to work in oil into the palm of a glove and wear it in.
I just love
it's really about fatherhood.
I love how my son sucks and he's dead, but you're here and it's great. Yeah. And I love it. Good musical, good relationship. Everybody.
Yep, 10 out of 10 messages across the board.
I had to look into Playbill and I was like, did Wilson Sports sponsor this song? Did they have... Musicals need more product placement. Yeah, I was like, what is going on? I mean, truly just jaw-droppingly bad, because I enjoyed the rest of the musical.
And not the first bad song about baseball in a musical.
No.
Ragtime has the same problem in the second act. They go to a baseball game and it brings down the whole momentum of the second act because it's this comedic beat in this very tragic second act, and it stop writing songs about baseball, except for the musicals that are about baseball.
Damn Yankees.
Damn Yankees. The one with all the... Oh, I'm thinking of a play, actually.
Fucking Red Sox. Piece of shit Blue Jays. Just a lot of baseball musicals, surprisingly.
Yep.
Casey at the Bat. 3,000 points to Lauren for knowing that the Working in the Mitts song is the absolute worst.
It's wild.
It's not good.
No.
Okay, Eric, let us know at the end of Act 4, and take off that costume, please. At the end of that's a rental. At the end of Act 4, I want my deposit back. At the end of Act 4, how many points does Lauren have?
I like that I'm now like wearing like a t-shirt and shorts and my face is just like bark.
I'm glad you like that because it's terrifying to me.
You told me I can't wash it off in front of a guest. Lauren, with that beautiful infusion of 3,000 Dear Evan Hansen points, which we got from Ben Platt's dad, you are up to 3,985 points. Congratulations!
Woo! It's no Moya McTeer, but I'll take it.
Outstanding job. Lauren, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you
You've
for
inspired
having
me anytime. Please come back on. Talk about other composers, other musicals, anything at all. I love myself some broad.
We forgot that. We still have one.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
To quote someone who kind of looks like Sondheim, Peter Falk as Columbo. Just one more thing, right? They have us. I mean, if you squint, kind of.
Yeah, I see it.
That's good.
Or if they squint,
Throw
or
a
if they
beard on
squint. For a final bonus point, Lauren, you will answer this random trivia question about the world's most perfect film and, admittedly, the world's most perfect musical, Grease. Lauren, what classic Hollywood actress refused to have their daughter screen test for Rizzo, resulting in the loss of the role? Interesting that we're ending the show with more nepotism.
Ooh, was it Debbie Reynolds?
It wasn't Debbie Reynolds. I'll give you a few more guesses. If you picture Rizzo's hair, I think they modeled her hair after this actress to some degree. Wrong color, but very similar style.
Oh.
Possibly?
I'm trying to think of Hollywood mothers.
Really classic.
Judy Garland?
You're getting closer. You're certainly getting
closer. I would say if this actress was in Greece, she would go to that little ice cream stand they do, where Kaneki says Eskimo pie, but she would prefer chocolates and scarf them down two at a time.
Also, you're trying to think of who the daughter is. We do not know who the daughter is.
We don't know who the daughter is.
I thought the daughter was also a famous actor.
No.
No, okay, gotcha. Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
Lucille Ball is correct.
Okay. Thank you for that hint, Adal. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Do we know who Lucille Ball's daughter was?
No. Yeah, I was trying to think of like legacies, like mothers and daughters.
Yes. But honestly, Jamie Lee Curtis, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, God bless Lucille Ball's daughter for not being in the biz. Or if she was, my apologies. But otherwise, more people need to not follow in their parents' footsteps. If their parents' footstep was too large, Sean Lennon, I'm looking at you. Sorry, Sean Lennon's in the crowd here. Hi, Sean. Tell your mother
he's nodding in agreement.
With those stupid small round glasses. You're not your dad.
I think we have a little bit of the screen. She sent it a self-tape. Here we go. I have it. This is Lucille Ball's daughter in Greece. Danny Zuko, why? There wasn't that much. It was just that.
And of course, I'll now do the Ricky Ricardo voice. Just kidding. Gretchen Vandermeer, do you see how I practiced restraint?
Get him.
Gretchen,
that 17-year-old. Get her.
You see how I stayed in my lane, Gretchen Vandermeer? Sorry to publicly dox you, but you need to stop, Gretchen.
There shouldn't be a death of cringe because your performance is Maria. Absolutely. Too much.
There are lines.
Yes, there are lines. And you've crossed them, Gretchen. If I ever see you, unleash the wolves is all I'm saying. Eric, cut out where I threaten a high schooler.
Will do. I'll make a note.
So Lucille Ball is correct. Add a bonus point, Eric, please, and let us know what the final tally is for Lauren.
Lauren Shippen, this is your final curtain call. Your score is 3,987 points.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Oh, please. No, everybody sit down. Please. I don't need the standing ovation. Please.
Oh my gosh. She's getting 1,000 points for the standing ovation. And I'm so sorry. 999 points for the standing ovation because someone, Patti LuPone, isn't standing.
Patti, come on. We've worked together. At least, come on.
You've had lunch with her, right?
I haven't had lunch with her, but I did spend 2 hours in a hotel room with her directing her once.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, no, that's a real thing.
We've all spent 2 hours in a hotel room with Patti LuPone. We've all.
It was the most bone-chilling experience of my life. No, bone chilling's the wrong word. It was just really like an out of body. That's why I saw the Gender Bent Company in London, is because she was opening it there, and so she invited me and Kelly Marie Tran, who I was doing a podcast with over there, and we went to one of the previews, and guess who was sitting 4 rows in front of us?
Wow!
But Steven Sondheim.
Lauren said bone chilling was the wrong word. Eric, please go back and make bone chilling louder in the podcast.
Yeah,
I don't want to suggest that Patti LuPone is like scary or anything. I was just very intimidated.
she had her scythe with her.
Yeah. Yep.
Lauren, can you say what project that was?
Yeah, it was Passenger List. So she's in the first season of Passenger List, and it was a crazy time.
What can you say? What kind of notes you gave her, or had someone else pass along to her in a notebook?
I mean, I honestly barely gave her any notes. Like, come on, she's Patti LuPone. She understood the assignment. Yeah. And then, at a certain point, she was sort of directing herself, and we recorded it sort of blocked and everything. So she was sort of blocking the scene and stuff for everybody else, and it was wild. Both Kelly and I were just like shaking the whole time in excitement because we're both such huge musical theater fans.
Incredible. That is a phenomenal story. Thank you so much, Lauren, for sharing that. Another 10 points to Lauren for sharing that story.
Another 10 points.
Outstanding.
Even though Patty's still not standing, which is rude.
Unbelievable. Eric, let us know Lauren's final total and where she stands on our high scoreboard.
All right. We're looking at the high scoreboard now. We have the most number of people we've ever had on the show. We have 13 people on the scoreboard, and Lauren Shippen, a gentleman's third place with 4,996 points. With Sondheim only ahead of you, Dr. Moya McTeer talking about exoplanets with 5,075 points, and Kristen DiMercurio talking about Minecraft with 5,531 points.
Oh,
Lauren still.
Wow.
Third isn't bad.
Yeah, no, I'm pleased with that.
And Lauren, I've never done this before. Should I do it? I think I will. Yep, I'm going to do it. Sorry for my little aside there. A bit of monologuing never hurts when you're on stage. Lauren, for the first time ever on Tell Me About It, I'm going to give you the opportunity to gain enough points to take the number 1 spot. If you can improvise maybe a 2-line, 3-line song about both exoplanets and Minecraft.
You can also say no. You can opt out. You're allowed to opt out.
Guys, when I say I know nothing about Minecraft, I mean I know nothing about Minecraft.
Same.
I don't know what it is, and at this point, it's too late to ask.
That's fair. Okay. That's very fair.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So I'm going to have to leave that up to the professionals.
Lauren is choosing third. She's staying at third.
I'm choosing third.
Respectable.
Over my deep, deep fear of improv.
Why has there ever been a movie like Open Water where it's just 3 people on stage who have never done improv and they're introduced as a comedy troupe? That should be the next horror film.
That is, I have that nightmare consistently. Actually, no, the nightmare that I have consistently is that it's intermission of a musical that I'm in, and I've just been told that I have an entire monologue and an entire solo song in the next act that I didn't know about, and I have to learn all of it in 15 minutes. And so I still have so much performance anxiety, even though I haven't been on stage in 8 years.
But you're also, your brain is creative enough that you put your own spin on the actor's nightmare. So kudos.
Thank you. Yeah.
Even when you sleep, you set yourself apart. That's
Sleeping
very impressive.
Lauren is better at improv than awake Lauren. Because awake Lauren has anxiety that she's aware of.
I have a reoccurring nightmare where a cat with Adal's face chases me down and eats me.
Oh, we've all had that nightmare.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Eric. No, sweetie. That's a new experiment. Did that get out? It was in your room?
Oh, it's still there. I only see it when I sleep. Is that bad?
That is Meowdle. I don't know if you know my friend Dr. Moreau, but he recently sold his island. I guess his Pepperidge Farm stocks tanked for some reason.
He gave me a checkup. You said he was Dr. Monroe.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Sometimes I flub my words. Apologies, Eric. Let's go ahead and sweep that under the rug. Literally, Meowdle under the rug here. Here, boy. And Lauren, let us know if there's anything you would like to plug.
Yeah, I do a podcast called Dashboard Diaries that is all about the website Tumblr. And if you are somebody who likes hearing people talk about the things that they're passionate about, which I'm assuming you do because you're listening to this great show, then I think you might like that. It's me and my friend Shae McNally, who works for Tumblr, and we just talk about the enthusiastic fandoms on Tumblr and our own enthusiasm. So that's Dashboard Diaries, everywhere you get podcasts.
Dashboard Diaries. You have yourself a new subscriber. Lauren, thank you so much. You're a goddamn delight.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
At some point, we have to remount this episode. You come back on and talk about something else because we've really enjoyed having you, and you deserve a shot at the number 1 spot. Lauren, thank you so much. Eric, thank you so much for your performance as tree number 6. And thank you all for listening. That's all for this episode of Tell Me About It. Tune in next week for more Learning to Assassinate Presidents, if that's okay to air, overpriced merch, and doxing Gretchen Vandermeer.
Gretchen, we know what you did.
We know what you did, Gretchen.
Gretchen, your dad filmed it and then posted it on Facebook. We saw it.
Run. Say goodbye, Eric. Sing goodbye, Eric.
Goodbye, Eric.
Thank you.